Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast. My name is Shanae Howard. This is Tommy Shelby.
Hello.
This is Ryan Robinson.
Hello.
Every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Most times, yeah.
So,
Witcha.
Hello, Witcher.
what have y'all been playing?
So much.
Yeah. What have you been playing, Tommy?
Too much. A lot of fighting games.
Yeah.
So played a little bit of Samurai Showdown with Ryan.
Hell yeah.
And the Japanese demo that was available. And that's fun. Been playing a good bit of Garo, Mark of the Wolves, which I'd never played before. And that's a lot of fun.
I am not familiar.
It's an SNK fighting game. It's like a Fatal Fury spinoff.
Do you know what
Man.
Fatal Fury is?
I do. Man, y'all have been on a big fighting game kick.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting games are the best.
I purchased Final Fantasy 15, not with the intent of playing it right now. I don't really have the time to play it right now. But I played about the first hour of that, and that's fun. And I started replaying 999.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I keep like playing it again,
Yeah.
playing about 6 to 7 hours, and then putting it down.
I really like the PlayStation version, which I'm sure is probably the same as the PC version, but I don't have that.
I have never played the PlayStation or PC version.
I picked up the PlayStation version of all three games because it was like $20 for all of them.
Really?
Yeah. And it's still going on. Not
So
by the
it's-
time this airs, but for you, Shanae, in our present, that sale is still going on.
So it's 999
Zero time
Escape.
dilemma, and Zero Escape, yeah, which is last
Oh.
reward.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, you buy them separately, right? So it's the two non-re games and then Zero Time Dilemma.
Yeah,
But if you buy all three of them, it's $20.
yeah, because I won't because I've played Zero Escape, Virtue's Last Reward, and 99, but I never played Time Dilemma.
Yeah, and it's neat. Like, it's been so long since I played the DS one that, like, was there voice acting in the DS version? No, right?
I feel like I remember there was.
Was
Yeah.
there? Maybe
but like
I'm
that was so
misremembering
long ago
incorrectly
that
then.
maybe I'm wrong.
I
So,
might-
yeah, it's fully voiced. It's not voiced very well, but it's fully voiced, which is nice. Yeah, I don't know.
No, there totally is. 'cause-
Was there?
Yeah, it's.
Okay.
I mean, I remember playing it, and I believe it was Japanese when they were speaking.
Yeah.
And it was because I remember just being like, I already know what's going on. Let me skip all the shit.
Well, and you can.
I don't
but
remember
yeah.
being able to in the DS version because I just remember just smashing the A button.
Yeah, no, this lets you skip. But yeah, and it is fully voiced in English or Japanese. I like it. It's fun. It's good.
Nice.
I'd also like to go on record and say that Final Fantasy 15 is my favorite Final Fantasy that I've ever played.
Wow.
Thank you.
Have you played a lot of them though?
I like those boys. So they're cool to hang out with.
Have you played a lot of them?
I have played 7, 8, 9, 10, 13.
A fair amount.
15 is my favorite
Yeah.
that I've played. So they should remake that. They should do Final Fantasy 15 remake.
They did. It's called Pocket Edition.
Okay, I want that. I'm gonna go ahead and buy that. Thank you.
What else have you been playing?
So like Tom mentioned, Samurai Showdown just came out, and I've been playing a lot of that, and I'm having a really good time with it. It's my first Samurai Showdown in 20 years, and it's a really good game. I've been playing a lot of Mortal Kombat, as you know, and so the pace going from Mortal Kombat to Samurai Showdown has definitely been an adjustment, but it's been a really fun adjustment.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I have actually been really just playing one game,
The Witcher.
Hello, Witcher.
just The Witcher.
It's funny when you do it.
Yeah, because you are a Witcher, you know.
Yeah, no, I am a Witcher. So I have been kind of getting up on my television and a couple movies.
Yeah.
I finally watched Hidden Figures, super good.
Mm-hmm.
Finished a bunch of series on Stars, and then if you've not been watching it, watch Big Little Lies if you still have HBO after Game of Thrones. It is so good. And Meryl Streep.
We're not getting paid by HBO, by the way.
Yeah, we're not. But Meryl Streep in season 2 is fantastic. And
She's the perfect actress.
she's so, like, her character is so just unsettling. It's great. And yeah, I just really like the series. But I have been playing Harry Potter Wizards Unite.
Uh-oh.
AKA Harry Potter Pokemon Go.
Gross.
Okay, so Shanae, I've heard a lot of things about this Harry Potter Go game. And
HP Go.
yeah, I've heard a lot about HP Go. And it sounds like there's a lot of shit going on in it.
Yeah.
A lot more than you would expect from a free-to-play casual mobile game.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Keep going.
Okay. Go on, Shanae.
Okay, yeah. So one of the things I super, super enjoy about Harry Potter versus Pokemon Go is
There we go. Our boy's back.
that there is like more skill involved when it comes to doing things. Like when you spin the Pokeball, there is a small amount, but a lot of it's just chance. This one, you're casting spells.
Uh-huh.
The whole point of this is basically
Alakazam.
yeah, Alakazam is and Abracadabra are the points.
Yeah.
Don't need to talk about it anymore. You got the game. No, all right. So like, you know, Pokemon Go, like you're going around catching Pokemon, trying to catch them all. But with Harry Potter Go, I'm gonna start calling it that from now on. I'm never gonna call it anything else.
I mean, that's what it is, right?
So in Harry Potter Go, basically you are kind of conscripted because a bunch of wizards and magical creatures are threatening the state of secrecy, which like is basically non-magical people can't know about it.
Yeah.
And so you're going around stopping all these like little instances of like people being very obvious with their magic. And you get a profession in it, which you don't get in Pokemon Go because your profession is trainer. And then you actually have a skill tree that you level up. And I think that's really cool.
Is it an actual tree?
Yeah.
With decisions to be made?
Yeah.
So you can spec your wizard.
So you can't do everything.
So that's the thing. If you play enough, eventually you can. There's 3 professions. Like you can switch between the professions.
Yeah.
But they use scrolls to like level up, but your scrolls don't reset between the professions. So what people really do is like focus on one, and then once they've like it's really hard to level it out. But if you do level it out, you could just switch over to like the next one. But your stats from your other profession don't transfer over.
What are the 3 professions?
So there's Aurora, which is basically wizard cop, and then
Stop resisting.
Yeah.
yeah, stop abracadabering, and then Masozoologist, which is like just a magic zoologist, and then a professor.
That sounds boring
So
compared to the other 2.
actually,
Professor?
Yeah.
you get a lot of like buffs and stuff like that because you know you're knowledgeable. So the Pokestops are like what's the equivalent of those are is actually 2 different things, and they give out different rewards. There's in the first week there was some complaints about how because you use energy to do a lot of things and how hard it was for people to get energy, even if you're not in a super rural area. And they listened to that and they fixed a lot of things. And I really enjoyed like the fact that they like listened. And I don't know. I like it a lot.
Quick question. With Pokemon Go, there were a lot of people creepily hanging out in parking lots. Has that returned?
Yeah.
Not to the same extent.
Okay.
I mean, there's still people hanging in the parking lots, and the thing is, Birdo still plays Pokemon Go, and I open it every now and then.
Yeah.
But like they may not be the same things. Like what's a gym for him? Maybe like an inn or a greenhouse for me, and so it's not the exact same thing. But we can each we'll drive around together and like stop and do things.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I just mean not to the same extent. Is that like the numbers are much lower than Pokemon Go was.
And then, so one of my, I guess, like, favorite things comparatively to like Pokemon Go is that when it came to like gyms, like gym battle, there's like there's raids in like Pokemon Go where there's like a really powerful there's powerful Pokemon, and like basically you need a team unless it's like super low level, and like you see the levels when you drive by or you go by it. So, and
Don't look at your phone when you're driving.
well, if you're a passenger,
Yeah.
and you'll see the stars of like how difficult it is. But with Harry Potter, it's like a tower,
And it's
So-
Voldemort.
I mean, there may be at one point, I haven't gotten all the levels of the tower, but a lot of it you can do yourself, like without somebody, because there's like levels, like, and I got to level 5, and I think that's where my sister is too, because my sister's playing it, and like that I can do by myself, and it's nice having like some of the harder content, like able to do at least some of it without other people. That way, if you're not in a group and you want to hit it up, and you see it, you can still get benefits. It's just not going to be as much or as good as like the higher tiered levels of that in. And also it's not time sensitive. It's any time of the day. Those levels are there. And I think that that's really nice for somebody who works like odd hours, or somebody who doesn't always have friends around.
Or friends at all.
Or
Sure.
if no one around them is playing, and you have to beg your fiance to download the app and play a level with you.
Sure. That sounds
Yeah.
awful. Last question about this game. At what point does it ask you to spend your hard-earned money on it?
So where that comes in is all things that you can actually get, like feasibly get in gameplay. It's nothing that is like super hard to get. There's nothing that's like, oh, you'll just never get it unless it's like a certain time of day or a certain day of the year. So that comes with buying. I forgot. Now I know what my favorite thing is. So like and I don't think either of you really played Pokemon Go, but you could collect eggs, and if you walked a certain amount of distance, the eggs would hatch. They have like a similar mechanic, but it's called port keys. If you're not familiar with Harry Potter, they're portals.
Porkies?
Porkies?
Port keys.
Oh.
There are portal openers basically in the game, but like in the Harry Potter universe, it takes you one place to the other. So they actually use the. This is a complaint for a lot of people who have disabilities and want to play, or are limited space. A lot of people actually do have a problem with this mechanic, but I like it because it works well for me. But
Well, as long as it works for Shanae, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
long as it works for The Witcher.
I'm just saying, like there's understandable dislike of it.
Yeah.
So when you unlock them, you can set them up, and then the AR pops up, and it's like it's an object that you touch, and then the portal opens. So you find shut up, Tommy.
I didn't say anything.
I'm just shooting my shot.
There was a fly.
Just shooting my shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Witchers hate portals.
They do.
So,
Except for this one.
yeah.
So like you open it and the portal opens. So you actually walk in your room when the portal opens. There's like a big oval, and you walk through, and it's a different room when you walk around. So it goes AR to this like animated room, and there's like treasures and stuff you can click on, which I just think is a really, really neat mechanic for Harry Potter fans, because like it does feel like you're going into a different room.
A portal to Outworld.
Sure. I forget sometimes that there are people who only listen to us and don't watch us. The reason we keep making Witcher references.
More people only listen to us than watch us. Like many, many more.
Yeah. The reason we keep making Witcher references is because Shanae's hair looks like Geralt of Rivia from the Witcher series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also
Keep
from
saying.
the Soul Calibur series.
Also, now of Soul Calibur fame.
Also, I have a new job. I'm a witcher.
Sure. Sure.
Um,
Well, I'm glad that you're liking your Magic game.
I do. I like it a lot. There are like a couple things that I like wish were different, but that's not really unique to this game. And so far, I'm really, really enjoying it. It feels a lot more immersive than Pokemon Go does,
Yeah.
because the things that you do, you have to pay more attention to. But
Sure.
people who are used to walking around like parks and stuff, just like spinning stops and like catching like Pokemon real fast because it's just a flick of your thumb.
Yeah. Just a flick of the wrist.
Yeah, now you have like magic spells, and you have to do like a certain like combination or symbol. Like you have to move your wand that way. So people are like, now I have to stop and I can't just walk around. And I'm
Sure.
just like, well,
That's-
it's more game in my game, so I'm okay with it.
Well, I'm glad that you like your wizard game, and maybe next time you ask me more questions about my samurai game.
We're going to talk about it. You already know this.
Oh man.
I
wonder. See, I also wonder like how many like is this going to be a thing for them? Like they did the Pokemon and they did Harry Potter. I think they did a Jurassic Park one too.
Well, and the Pokemon one was built off of an existing game.
They built it off of
same
Ingress.
same thing with HP Go.
Yeah.
Same thing built off Ingress.
I can't remember if they did the Jurassic Park one too, but like I feel like they're gonna keep.
There's that Ghostbusters one too.
Oh yeah. And that came out pretty recently too, I think.
I don't know. I didn't play any of them.
But it's just like, are they just? I feel like they're just gonna keep co-opting IPs that they can get their hands on to make these games, these very similar sounding games.
Whatever
don't know.
sells.
Yeah, sure.
I'm like pretty okay with it. Like I've gotten a lot of like free gifts of like energy and like different little collectibles.
Sure.
Well, because you're smart, you're not the target.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely.
The target is children.
The target is whales.
Whales.
Yes.
Big children.
I mean, I'm giving them $5, but like I'm pretty happy with what I got for those $5.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel like I necessarily needed to buy it. I was like, man,
Sure.
I'm really enjoying this game. But I'm okay with like them co-opting a bunch of different IPs because it makes me want to go outside and walk around more because it's
Yeah.
more rewarding.
I've always
And
said
then-
that the best way to
More
get
rewarding than what?
not having a game to do it while you're doing it.
Walking your dog is so boring sometimes.
It's very boring.
It is, and if I can sit there and get bonuses in my games and like
Maybe if your
unlock
dog
stuff,
was more lovable, you know?
That's a good point, Sinead. Have you considered making your dog more lovable?
I'll try. I'll work on that.
All right.
But
Because Cinnamon's real lovable, you know?
and you never get bored walking her.
No.
You already said you did.
The show's over.
Yeah, I think it's like it pushes people to want to go outside and like kind of explore different parts of the city and definitely have some more co-op. Yes, same complaints with Pokemon Go. Like rural players are shafted, but it's built off Ingress as well.
Moving
so,
to the city, you know?
Yeah. Caroline in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I just don't. Like, I wish there was something that they did for rural players, but I understand like why it isn't. But
No.
I don't know.
There's not much they can do.
Also, like, they should be
If
busy
nobody in
tending
Ingr-
to the crops
If
instead
no,
of playing phone games.
if nobody played Ingress in your area, you're just kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Actually, if no one plays Ingress in your area, that means you can rule the town. If you're the only Ingress player, then that means you rule everything and you win.
Well, I'm saying if there's no Ingress players in your town, then there's no stops or anything in Pokemon Go or Harry Potter. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Though, speaking of Pokemon Go, Berto has his old phone, and he downloaded Pokemon Go on there. It started a different account, and it's been spoofing it to like different locations to get like regional.
I don't know what spoofing is, but that sounds illegal.
Oh, that account would get banned if they like, caught it. But he's doing it to get like regionals in other countries because every continent has like special ones.
I love that you blew him up on our show, so now the cops are going to come after him.
Yeah. The
Good
Poke
job.
Police.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, there goes our marriage.
sure.
But it's been super interesting to see because I've never I knew that it existed. I just never looked into it because I was like, I don't want my account to get banned.
Sure.
I remember, so I had done like a soft root of my phone, and it doesn't give you access to Cydia, but it gives you access to like some other store. I don't remember what it's called. And so like it's not a jailbreak, right? But like fucking half the apps on there were like cheats for fucking Pokemon Go.
Jeez.
Yeah.
If you're going to cheat, what's the point?
I don't. There is very little point, but
Sure.
besides to get like regionals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I've just been watching a lot of TV and playing HP Go.
Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the point at the end of the day, right? So.
Yeah. So what are we talking about this week?
Well, I mean, we could talk about what I'd brought up in our group text.
I would like to talk about that.
You want to talk about it this episode or the next one?
Either one works, but I do have feelings about
It's
it.
just been a lot of fighting games lately is all.
Yeah, and here's the thing is that Tom and I said last week that we promised this is not turning into a fighting game channel.
Yeah.
We did say that.
Not with me on it.
But at the same time, we talk about what we like, what we know, and what we're doing right now is fighting games. So like, what do we, what else can we do?
Sure. So I watched a video this week by a streamer named Nihongo Gamer who, over the past year, has been doing a lot of fighting game content, and he did this video on difficulty in fighting games that I thought was interesting. It's just a perspective that has never crossed my mind, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on. So basically, he talks about how current fighting games, I'm not going to say all of them because that's not true, but the majority of them, and certainly the most popular ones, have become significantly easier. And what he's talking about specifically is execution, whether the execution of a combo is easier, like it's a one-button combo or a dial a combo, or the execution of special moves is easier in that the timing in which the game allows you to input those commands is lengthened. He talks about the reasons why companies do this. I don't really give a shit about why they do it. I'm assuming they do it to bring in a bigger audience, right? What I found interesting is he's basically saying that he doesn't think it helps anybody and that it doesn't actually make the game easier. And I tend to agree with him. I've just never thought about it in this way, in that fighting games are a one-on-one game. If the genre is going in this direction, people who have been playing these games for a long time have to move with it, whether they like it or not, right?
Sure.
So even if it makes it easier for Sinead to pull off these special moves, it doesn't matter because she's still going to be fighting somebody who's better than her, and there's still going to be one winner, and there's still going to be one loser.
Right.
The loser will be me.
Is typically going to be the person who can't do the shit, right? So I thought that was interesting. I also think it's interesting he brought up a point of instead of making them easier or attempting to make them easier, like why has no fighting game marketed itself as a hard game? Because we've seen that bring success, right? Over the past few years, quite a bit between Dark Souls, Cuphead, literally any roguelike game. Like tons of games are marketing themselves as difficult and doing well because of it, you know? So why not fighting games?
Well, yeah, the main thing, so he put it up as a YouTube video, and I also watched it.
It was a stream, but it's just cut from a stream, yeah.
And he also compared it. He brought up the points of people not wanting to lose, and also compared the fighting game market to the mobile market.
Yeah, I don't care about that because that's just like talking about why these companies are doing it. I don't care why they're doing it,
But it talks about but I think he makes the point is to talk about the psychology of the players that are playing the game.
Sure.
And what would drive them when they're used to mobile markets. But as far as not wanting to lose, I get that. That's why I don't really play a lot of games is because there's some that I can play and I can lose and still have fun.
Yeah.
But it's similar to why I don't really enjoy playing shooting games is I'm not super good at them. So people who want to be better and good at them, I just feel I'm holding them back. And when it comes to if I'm playing against people I know or especially, and I play fighting games with them and I'm just going to sit there and lose every time, I don't feel it's fun for them. And then I feel bad about it and I don't have fun.
But two things, right? One, I don't think it's fair to compare this to all mobile games, especially the ones that he compares them to in that video.
Yeah,
you compare
100%.
it to mobile fighting games, and mobile fighting games still very much have the same issue. Even though the execution is basically gone, you're still having one winner and one loser, and the better player is still going to win. And then comparing it to a first-person shooter is a bit different because, and he says this in the video, right? When you lose in Call of Duty or CSGO or whatever, you're not the one loser. You know,
Sometimes I am.
there are many other losers with you, and you could say, well, you know, the whole team didn't play well. You can make excuses, right? In a fighting game, you're the loser, you know?
I think it also.
You, Shanae Howard, specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm also
No
just
matter
not a
who's playing, you
I'm not-
lost, Shanae.
Basically, yeah. Except for that one time in Killer Instinct where I just button mashed.
Yeah, you single-handedly ended my Killer Instinct career.
Yeah. He
but-
burned that game.
But I mean, like, and this, I feel the same kind of badness when I just playing at somebody that is better than me, like in person, as I do as playing, like, with people in shooting games, because I just know that, like, I'm not bringing a challenge or a fun thing to this game.
I mean, you might, but I think like most people probably wouldn't, or at least a large group of players probably wouldn't. But like, I mean, that said, if they market it as difficult, right, the way that Dark Souls does, would you go into it with a different mindset and potentially stay longer?
No.
Okay.
So I feel like only.
Because I think that's a good idea.
So to your point, I feel like a lot of like, so you have roguelikes, Souls-likes, and bullet hells that I've seen that like really talk about, like, they use the term. I always see the term punishing difficulty every time. And to your point, also, you don't see that with fighting games, and I'm not really sure why that is, but when we're talking about fighting games and making them easier for, making it easier to draw more people in or whatever, then my attention really turns less toward the people making the game and more toward the people who are playing the game.
Yeah.
And my question is, like, well, why are you playing the game in the first place? Like, what is it that you are hoping to get out of this game?
Well, the interesting thing about that, though, is like even when a fighting game is marketed as easy, right? Because typically they don't, right? Street Fighter V is the easiest Street Fighter. They don't market it that way,
Sure.
right? But there have been fighting games that are marketed that way. Rising Thunder, right?
Yeah.
They typically don't perform well. People don't want to play the fighting game that's for babies.
Well, because like you like, especially when we're talking about like a story in a long-standing franchise like Street Fighter, where like over 80% of that fan base is people who were like, I've been playing Street Fighter for this many years, and I've been honing my skills over this many games.
I mean, are you just saying 80%? Because like I wouldn't assume that at all. That's usually
I'm not trying to be analytical here. I don't have any figures to back it up.
Okay.
So
He just means majority.
I just mean that there are a large percentage of people who are playing these long-standing franchises are people who have spent time with these games, spent time getting good at these games, spent time learning these characters and everything. And then if you were to come out and say, after I spent all this time with your franchise, and come out and say, this is the easiest Street Fighter yet,
right? Or
this is the easiest, whatever yet, and I was like, well, that's not what I want.
But I think that's like very rarely the case. I think most people playing Mortal Kombat 11, this is probably their first Mortal Kombat. I think most people playing Samurai Showdown, for sure, this is their first Samurai Showdown. That's probably the case with Soul Calibur. Like,
but then my question still stands. That
like
is
Street Fighter. Sure, you're probably right.
I wouldn't say that most Mortal Kombat 11 players, this is their first Mortal Kombat.
Well, even my question still stands,
maybe
though.
You know something I don't know.
I just think that, like.
Okay, what I was saying is, my question still stands, is if I put, this is the easiest Street Fighter ever, or this is the easiest Mortal Kombat ever, or whatever,
right?
If I put that on my box and that brought you to the game, then my question still is, what is it that you're hoping to get from this game? Because I have always well, I guess I can only really speak for myself, because I don't talk to a lot of people about this particular thing, but when I go to a fighting game, what I want is the whole point, everything that I get from the fighting game is the challenge that of going up against someone else, and everything and win or lose. If it's a good fight, then it's a good fight. Now, I know it's a good fight when I know what it takes to execute what they're doing, and I know what it takes to execute what I'm doing. And if it's suddenly that those requirements are lowered drastically, specifically for for the purpose of bringing people in, such as like, giving me like if I won with an auto combo, I wouldn't feel good about that. But that's not what I come to those games. I come to those games to get better and beat other players doing it. But
like auto combo in what we've seen recently between something like Dragon Ball Fighters or Unist or whatever it might be, Grand Blue coming up. I think Grand Blue has them. Either way, like that's a mechanic of the game, and you're not intended to just enter that auto combo and leave it at that.
That's an example I'm using. What I'm saying is when we make the games easier and that brings you in, then what is it that you're hoping to get out of these games? It goes back to when we're talking about hard games in general, right? When we're talking about Sekiro and Dark Souls and all that.
Yeah.
And people talked about how well, I want this game shouldn't be this hard, or they should be easy mode or whatever.
Right.
Then the question is like, what are you hoping to get from this game? Now with games like that, you could say, well, I want the story from the game.
Yeah.
But there are games like Dark Souls where the story isn't that accessible, so like, why are you playing the game really? Now, when it comes to fighting games, like if I make the fighting game easier, then are you playing it then because you want to feel like you're on even ground with the person that you're playing against?
Mm-hmm.
Because we know that even if the game is easier, that is still not the case.
Okay, but what about well, where do you? I mean, you obviously like Samurai Showdown,
Yeah.
right? And I've enjoyed my time with it as well. But like, that's a pretty easy fighting game, and like there aren't big combos in it. Yeah, you still input, quarter circles and whatnot, but like, it's all timing and pokes and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying the execution can't be easy, because it most certainly can.
Yeah.
Like I can pull off literally any move on any character in Samurai Showdown, no problem, right? So that's not the problem. And I don't even think problem is the right word, but if I'm saying that games being easier or easier to execute that's not an issue.
Right. And I agree with that, like completely, I do.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that if that is what is bringing you to the game, if easy to execute moves is what's bringing you to the game, and that's it, then to your point, you're still not going to be as good as someone who's actually a good fighting game player.
Right.
And I'm still wondering, like,
so there is no point in doing
there's no point, because like you can lower or raise the threshold as much as you want,
right?
But that barrier is going to remain a constant if you're not skilling up at all.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like, look at Dive Kick, right? Which it's not for me, but the game's popular. It's done quite well. It's, I think, a 1-button game, I believe.
Yeah, like
pretty sure,
like 1 or 2 buttons. Yeah.
But like there are still people who are better at it than others,
sure.
Right? Like,
and that's almost
because they understand.
That's almost as simplistic as you can get.
Things of that nature. Yeah, I don't know.
So then, like, and that goes back to my saying also that like not every game has to be for everybody.
Right.
I don't think that fighting games have to be for everybody. I like the communities that.
Well, and they're obviously not.
Right.
But
I like the communities that spring up around fighting games. Like, well, for the most part, there's some that are just garbage, but. Like, for the most part, I like the communities that string up around fighting games. That's great and everything. And anybody who wants to play a fighting game, I'm never going to tell anybody, like, I'm never going to do any sort of gatekeeping and say, hey, you're not allowed to play this fighting game because this is why you're playing. I don't care.
But you don't think a game would be more successful if it was marketed as difficult?
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, we know that's why Dark Souls took off. Not initially, but in a big way, we know that's why Dark Souls took off, right? Same thing could be said for Cuphead. Like, yeah, obviously Cuphead's a beautiful fucking game, but like those levels are garbage, right? It took off because it's hard. Either of you don't think that would work for a fighting? Obviously, Shanae, you said it wouldn't work for you, right? But in general, you don't think that would add numbers? Because I kind of do.
I think that it may pull more people from the fighting game community. For sure, like as far as having a conversation and people wanting to play it. So I do think that it would, if there was a fighting game that was marketed as extremely difficult, there would be players playing it and people being like, it's not difficult, that's garbage, and like, just creating all of that community around something that's marketed as hard.
Right.
But as far as that goes, I mean, we've all been saying it, just to like kind of say it in a different way, like half of the difficulty if not more, of a fighting game is the person you're playing against. Most of my experience with fighting games is playing Tekken and Tekken Tag Tournament with my father on Saturday mornings. If those combos were a lot more difficult, I don't know if my dad would have been as into it.
Mm-hmm.
Then and maybe we wouldn't have had as many memories as far as that goes.
Right.
Because there are people who just want to play it casually with the people in their lives
Right.
and not play it online or like competitively. And as far as like those games, like, I mean, I don't remember them having any sort of auto combos. And I remember
No, they don't.
Yeah, like or anything like that. I don't
Like no fighting games did back then because they were good.
I don't know a scale of like how to say like how difficult Tekken Tag was probably the one I played the most of, like how difficult that one was as far as that goes.
More than Soul Calibur.
Okay. So well, so as far as that goes, like I didn't think it was a difficult game, is what I'm saying. Is like I don't think it was a particularly difficult fighting game, and that's what like my even now muscle memory wants to go to is those combos.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I don't think it necessarily needs to be difficult to be successful, and I don't think it suffers.
But I'm not saying like actually being difficult. I'm saying being marketed as such. You know, because like Guilty Gear is difficult, right? That's a difficult.
I was just thinking that
even if you know fighting games, Guilty Gear is hard, right?
I've played Guilty Gear. Yes, you're
right.
But
it doesn't market itself that way.
Sure.
Arc System Works has never come out and said, prepare to die or anything like that, right?
That'd be really cool.
I mean, if
they
Guilty
did,
Gear or a game like that was marketed as difficult, then maybe that might bring more other kinds of people to it.
Yeah.
Than already do play it. But I feel like as far as established franchises go, I don't think it benefits them to market their games as difficult.
I think it would benefit Street Fighter 6 to do so.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I think
do you think that's mainly because Street Fighter 5 is just so easy, or been talked about how easy it is?
Yeah.
To have that counterbalance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can see that.
I think that one of the reasons maybe they don't do it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think one of the reasons that they maybe don't do it is because like when we're talking about other kinds of games and them being difficult, like that's a very clearly defined thing. It seems like almost kind of more of a moving target when we're talking about fighting games, like because like are we talking about like when we say this is the most difficult, this is this punishingly difficult fighting game?
Yeah.
What are we? Because when we talk about that with like games like when we talk about like games like with bullet hells and souls likes and stuff like that, we're talking about like just the enemies are hard to kill, right? And we're like there are a lot of bullets on screen that are hard to dodge.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about a fighting game, are we specifically talking about like how difficult it is to learn how to play it?
I don't think it matters what we're talking about.
Sure, I guess.
And the audience doesn't see that, right? When you go to the store and you look at the back of the copy of a Souls game, it says "Prepare to Die" on there, but it doesn't tell you why.
Yeah, That's true. That is true.
But we also can talking about Dark Souls, we can pinpoint what's difficult about it.
Sure, because it's a known quantity.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking strictly marketing.
So now with
but I mean that goes along with marketing
it didn't with Dark Souls, and that did incredibly well.
You should look at the back of a Dark Souls box, and it is like the amount of text on those boxes is so minimal.
And even with their commercials, right? Even with their ads, it was never like, "Here's why this is hard."
Like the advertising will.
You mean only sponsored marketing, not like social marketing?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know the difference.
But I'm talking about like Twitch streams and shit like that.
Oh.
Not even just that, but just like, word of mouth, putting it out there.
Yeah.
IGNs and all that.
Blog post reviews, things like that. That's social marketing, not like sponsored marketing.
I mean, that exists post launch typically. I'm talking about leading up to a game, actual marketing.
Before anybody
the people you hire to market your game. That's all I'm talking about.
So I think that it would. So I guess going back to your original question, I think absolutely yes. I think absolutely putting that on the box and saying this is a really hard fighting game.
Yeah.
I think that there are a lot of people who play fighting games who are interested in proving how good they are at those fighting games.
There are.
And I think that is something that would speak directly to them. And so if you can
But like, but what about bringing in new people though, right?
Now, as far as bringing in new people, I think that fighting games are. I think that the main reason for, and this is, I guess, and this is just speculation because I haven't done a survey, or any polls or anything. But I think based on the conversations that I've had, with people about fighting games, I think that the reason why, a hard game might be unattractive to a new person, or a hard fighting game might be unattractive to a new person, is because a lot of the times people are really turned off by the idea of losing to another person versus losing to an AI.
Yeah.
And I think that might turn some new players off, but at the same time, I think that it could also work inversely. Like if I don't play fighting games, and this is marketed as a fighting game, it's like, well, if I get good at this game, I'll be good at all the fighting games. So, I mean, it could work either way.
Yeah.
But I mean,
there's no right answer, right? Like we don't know until it happens. But
and I'm
just curious.
I can't
what
see.
You guys think about it.
I can't see it ever happening, but I think it would be really cool to see it happen. Especially, and I think that the series to do it. I think that the series to do it would be Guilty Gear, just because of how technical that game tends to be versus other games in the genre.
I mean, Blaze Blue's right up there.
Yeah, and now if you told me to compare the Blaze Blue roster to the Guilty Gear roster, I probably couldn't do it because those games kind of go together in my mind. But and that's not a jab against those games. It's just I'm not familiar enough with those games to make that delineation. But I mean,
they're both Arc Sys games, but like
but I also think that you're not alone with how you feel about Street Fighter V.
I love Street Fighter V.
Right.
To be clear, I love that game.
Right.
I love it the least of the mainline Street Fighters.
But think about how much
other than one.
Think about
it's like children. Which one do you love the least?
Think about how much you'd love it if it weren't as simple as it is.
Yeah.
And I think that with Street Fighter 6, if that were the case, and they marketed it as such, then I think it could do. I think it would do really well.
Yeah.
But I guess
it'll be interesting to see how Grand Blue Fantasy does, because like Guilty Gear and Dragon Ball. I guess Dragon Ball you can't really count because of what it is. It's fucking Dragon Ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue before it, they've done well. They've been successful games, but they haven't sold like Mortal Kombat numbers or Street Fighter numbers or anything like that, right? And they are typically harder games than both of those series, right?
Am I thinking, like, is this the one that comes out on mobile? Is that the one that
no, well, Grand Blue is originally a mobile game in Japan. This is a regular fighting game, also from Arc System Works, but it will more than likely be the easiest game they've ever made, at least from what I've played of it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like special move cooldowns for newcomers and stuff like that. Like it'll be interesting to see how that does in comparison. And like it's gonna sell based off the name, not so much in the States, but in Japan for sure.
Yeah.
But
well, what do you think is gonna sell it in the States?
I mean, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
The engine that they started with Xrd followed through on with Dragon Ball, and now we're using this game. Like they've only refined it. It looks better than both of those games, and those are already great looking games. It's easy. Like for newcomers, it is easy.
Sup?
I mean, easy. Like we said, easy only depending on who you're actually playing against.
Sure.
But executing special moves is a direction and a button if you want it to be.
So. I don't know.
I mean, that's what you do in fucking Smash Brothers,
Yeah, and I'm not good at that either.
Yeah, but I mean, that appeals more so to a casual audience than a competitive audience. Yes, there's a big competitive Smash scene.
Sure.
Not nearly the number of people who are playing it on their couch with their best friend,
Yeah. And also
Facts.
if you're playing casually with a friend or family member on the couch, then the complexity or difficulty of the game is irrelevant anyway, I think.
Nah, I got wrecked by my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that like that's necessarily true, right? Because like you look at like Mario Kart versus Crash Team Racing, which recently came out, which I don't know if you ever played Crash Team Racing, but it's significantly more difficult than Mario Kart is. And you could sell or not sell a game based on that, I think, to a casual person.
Sure, but if two casual people are playing the game, then regardless of the mechanics in that game, one of you guys is going to cross that line first, and it's going to be me.
Or a robot.
Or, oh yeah, I forgot about the robots. I forgot about.
Y'all can both lose or tie.
They're not robots.
Well, if they're not robots,
they're
then,
Rubits.
AI?
Rubits.
well, okay, we're not getting into that conversation, but yeah, I don't know. Make games as hard as you want. I don't care. Like I'll be able to play something. Just make them as hard as you want, or make them as easy as you want. Just
Make them harder.
Just make them
all
better.
around.
Just make them harder.
all harder.
And also make
Please.
them just make them better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Put my dog in a fighting game and I would play it.
You would play a game where there's a possibility that your dog could get beat up
or
No.
fatality'd.
Yeah.
No.
Is that what you want to see?
Like in the background crowd. Like I want her cheering me on.
Oh.
Very low stakes.
Yeah.
I just want a virtual.
Oh, okay. I got
her
the
to
game
be
for
proud
you.
of me.
Smash Brothers has Duck Hunt in it. That's basically your dog.
I mean, not really, but I do play that.
Sure. Anyway.
It also has Nintendogs in it.
Does it?
Yeah, it does.
Playable Nintendogs?
No.
Oh. Very low stakes.
Weaponized Nintendo.
Well, it is kind of because they come up to the screen and block the screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's weaponization there.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Weaponized Nintendo.
I thought you were saying it ironically.
Oh, no. So, I mean.
Shout out to Nintendogs.
Yeah. And pets in general.
Yeah, I guess.
But the Nintendogs are better than the real pets.
I guess
you don't have to worry about them.
Yeah.
I guess to
no vet
surmise
bills
it-
on those Nintendogs.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
I said, I guess to surmise it, for me personally, marketing a game is hard. I don't think would ever make me want to play it.
I don't mean you. I just mean
But in a general, I said I can't see a group of people that would be more incentivized to play it to kind of be like prove them wrong. But I don't know if it's enough to like get Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter numbers if it's not a Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter game.
No, make Mortal Kombat harder. Make Street Fighter harder. Make Sam Show harder. Make them all harder. Because you know what?
Don't
Eventually,
make Guilty Gear harder. It's fine how it is.
Yeah.
Guilty Gear is perfect difficulty.
Yeah. But make them all harder, and I'll tell you what, I will win eventually. I'm 48% on Mortal Kombat right now. I'm 49% on Samurai Showdown right now. Come at me.
Cool. So, if we have nothing else to add, I got a game.
Sure.
Now, is this a game that you came up with while you've been here today, or is this something that you had before you came here today?
Because if it's the latter, I'm looking forward to it. If it's the former, okay.
I didn't make up the game. It's a game we've been playing.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Oh, by the way, what's the story on that whiskey, bud?
What?
Well, I mean, we were
Next
promised
paycheck.
whiskey.
Next paycheck.
Okay.
Thank you, promise.
Shanae's got bills.
I don't
All
care.
right.
She
Yeah.
made a promise.
I had to put the down payment
You
on my...
know Shanae breaks her promises,
Sure.
like when she said she would find you a girlfriend.
I had to do that myself. So. You remember that, Shanae?
Shanae?
You remember that?
I said help.
You didn't help, though.
I didn't.
She didn't hurt.
I guess if that's the definition of helping, then yeah, you helped a lot.
I've cleaned up your apartment.
That's true, and you do need to do that.
Nah, it's clean now.
Yeah, well, I helped beforehand.
Well, it got dirty again since then, but it's clean now.
It would have been even more dirtier if I had done nothing.
That's true.
Nah. Can't get much dirtier.
Fair point.
This is where I name games, and you gotta tell me the developer.
Okay, I like this.
All right.
Is it multiple choice, or do I just have to guess the developer?
No, I'm just naming all of the games. Some of them
yeah.
are gonna be easier than others.
Uh-huh.
Okay, give it to me, Shanae.
Make them all harder.
Give it to me, Shanae.
No, this is easy mode for a broad audience.
Nintendo.
Mario Kart. Bulletstorm.
People can fly.
People. Yeah, I mean,
Gearbox.
you're accurate about.
They developed that game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
but
Gearbox published.
in conjunction with somebody else. Painkiller.
That's people can fly
Gear,
also.
Gears of War.
That's epic.
Yeah.
So Epic did Bulletstorm?
Epic did not make Bulletstorm.
Oh, well,
They did not help develop it, I should say.
Oh, well, that's not what
Uh-oh.
the online information.
I might be wrong. I'm fairly certain.
Should we look it up?
That's just People Can Fly.
Should we look it up? Let's look it up.
That's the only reason
Can I get your phone out? Let's look it up.
It's not necessary.
I mean, Tom is refuting you on your own game, so we need to verify
I said I could be wrong.
You sounded pretty sure.
Death Smiles.
Oh, fuck. I should know this.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
played that.
that's your shit, Tom.
Akai Katana.
Is it Cave?
Yep.
Okay.
Damn, Tommy.
I'm always get confused. Like, I know they're way different, but I get confused with Cave and Treasure.
Lost Planet 3.
3. Oh, I don't know.
Legendary. Call of Duty Finest Hour.
Man, it's been a while since I thought about Legendary or Finest Hour.
Turning Point Fall of Liberty.
I played Turning Point. I'm like the only person who played Turning Point.
What game is that?
Turning Point is where like it's basically Red Dawn. Like the U.S. gets attacked. This is before Homefront was ever a thing.
Yeah.
Like early 360.
That sounds pretty good. I like early 360.
It's not. It's very bad. And it was Gears 3 the one that had or not Gears 3, Lost Planet 3, the one that had the Gears of War crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no idea who made those games today.
Spark Unlimited.
Never heard of them. I've played some of their games, but I've never heard of them.
Tales from Space series. There's multiple of them. Guacamelee. Seven.
Juicebox.
Drinkbox.
Damn it. I say Juicebox every time. It's Drinkbox. I don't know why I do that to myself.
They're similar, and their logo is a juice box.
Yeah. There it is. Give me a half point for that.
You got it.
No.
And not like points matter anyway. Sinead threw out the scoreboard.
Well, it's right there. You can throw it out.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I'm looking at it.
You're funny, Sinead.
Yeah, you are funny. I like your games, though.
Yeah.
Thanks. So that's our game today. If you want to talk to us about what you think about,
You see how ripped my forearms are getting from playing so much fighting games?
no, that's
No.
from jacking it.
I'm left-handed, so shut up.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not that that matters. Shut up, Sinead.
Leftorium.
Is that the Ned Flanders store?
Yeah.
So if you want to talk to us about if you think that if a fighting game said that it was hard, would you be more inclined to play it or would you not be? Let us know what you think.
Okay.
Any of our social media or Discord. But
Yeah. If you're watching from Instagram, hello, welcome.
Welcome. Willkommen.
But yeah,
Instagram's been popping off.
It's been like popping bottles on that thing, man.
cool. Anyways, that's our show.
Sinead hates it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Later.